Hey guys, this is Matt Core from ctrl+paint.com, and today we're going to talk about adding elements like this detailed and repetitive shape. So it's clearly one item that's repeated over and over again, and yet it has this, curvature to it. So if you want to add something like this in Photoshop, there's an easier way than what you might be expecting. So let's walk this back. First off, I need to make just a uniform repeated shape. So here you can see there's no lighting. It's all just one repeat unit that's been sort of twisted into perspective. And then over top of that, I'll put some paint to integrate it back into the lighting and the color of the scene. But if I know that's my ultimate goal, the question becomes, how do I make this detailed, repeated chain link in the first place? Well, as you might guess, you start by literally making one link in the chain. So this here is just made on its own layer. I painted it with the brush tool. Really, there's nothing fancy about it. Where it gets fancy is when we start duplicating it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of doing free transform, which is Ctrl+T, I'm going to add in the Alt key. So this is Ctrl+Alt+T. Now what this does is this asks me what is the distance and direction that I'm going to want the chain to go in. So I'm going to hold down Shift to make sure it just goes exactly horizontal, and I'll get my distance how I want it. And then I hit Enter. It now knows the relationship between two links of chain, and it can help me do the rest without any actual work. Here's the magic. I hold down Ctrl+Alt+Shift+T, and it repeats exactly what I did. And I can do that over and over, and it gives me these beautifully spaced links in the chain. So I can take all of those and flatten them down into a single layer. I could shrink that down, do whatever I want with it. Now this tool allows you to do even more than that. This alone might be enough for you, but I just want to show you while we're here some other cool things. So once again, I'm going to do Ctrl+Alt+T. Now this time, I'm not just going to move it, I'm also going to rotate it. So I will get the rotation and the distance just how I like it, hit Enter. And then once again, Ctrl+Alt+Shift+T. Look at that. That is just pure magic. Oh wow, it actually, okay. That was a lucky one. It doesn't necessarily always turn into a perfect circle like that. In fact, I didn't even plan that. That just kind of worked out well. But you can then, flatten all those down into a single layer, and you can use that as some sort of a design element. This would be hard to paint. Hopefully this is pretty obviously powerful when you can see how quickly I generated that. So to get back to where we started with the initial example, I'll show you how I made that. So we'll start with a single link again. And for this one, I'm actually gonna shrink it down a little bit and kind of stretch it out like that. Ctrl+Alt+T, and I'm gonna move it correct distance. No scale, no rotation. Hit Enter. Ctrl+Alt+Shift+T. Make a number of these. Merge them together. Now that it's a big unit, it's actually easier for me to just make a second copy like that. Okay, I think that'll be enough to work with. Yeah, so I'm going to then free transform this entire shape. You know what, to make this a little clearer, I'm going to hide everything else. So I have my one single layer here. I do a normal free transform, Ctrl+T, right click, go to the warp tool, and then here in the warp presets, I'm just going to pick arc. And then you can drag this middle handle here to get the arc you're looking for and confirm that. So there you have it. So I could take this back into my image, do any sort of free transforming I wanted to make it kind of go into perspective like I showed in my example. And then I could paint on top of it. So sometimes when you need to make something that is not only complicated, but specifically that has repeated units, the best place to start is with one unit. From there you make multiple units, and then you can get to the really complex final result really quickly. So step and repeat is what this is called. although it's really just a secret function of the free transform command. So memorize these keyboard shortcuts, try it out for yourself. I think you're gonna like this technique. Thanks for coming to the site, guys.